What's going on, guys? It's Steven from Making Multifamily Money, and today I want to talk about asymmetrical bets. So, asymmetrical bets is a concept that millionaires and billionaires use to build their wealth over time. And if you listen or study a lot of millionaires or billionaires, they say you should only be rich one time, and from there, just slowly build on it and compound upon itself over time, right? Because that's the tried and true way to make money and wealth is through compound interest over time. So the earlier that you start, the better you are. So for example, for me, I started investing at 27 and I'm looking to do real estate for the rest of my life. So even in let's say 50 years when I'm 77, I still want to be involved in real estate and you can see how much your wealth compounds slowly. But the key is taking asymmetrical bets so that you can continue that slow compounding over time. So let me explain this by giving you an example. So I like to ask this question: what is a better option? So option number one is the worst case is you break even, and the best case is you can make $1 million. So worst case you break even, best case is make $1 million. Or option two is the worst case is you lose everything and you file bankruptcy, but at the best case scenario, you have the option to make $20 million, right? So just think about it, which option you would take. I feel like the majority of people want that instant gratification and they have that all or nothing mentality. So I feel like they would choose option two. Like they don't mind losing everything at the opportunity of making $10 million because it's because 10 million is life changing money, right? Versus breaking even at worst case or making a million at best. It's nice, but it's not as appetizing or as appealing compared to that 20 million. So, most, millionaires or billionaires, when they do the asymmetrical bet, they would actually choose option one. Because if your worst case scenario is breaking even and you learn by breaking even, that's amazing, right? And if things go as the best as planned, then you make $1 million, which is still great, right? But then you learned from this deal so that you can continue to move on, right? So that's the key concept is you must be able to continue doing it and learning from it. Versus if you get bankrupt at the opportunity of trying to make 20 million, you're going to be devastated, right? Your family life will be ruined. Your mental health will go down. You're not going to be very happy. You're going to be very stressed. You're starting from zero and you'll just be so, overcome with all these emotions that you may not have learned your lesson, right? And you might repeat that mistake again, or you may never even want to try again because of the trauma that it has caused you, right? In that case, you basically secured that you'll never be successful again. Like we've all seen these stories where people made a lot of money, lost all that money, and they never got back on their feet, right? Versus with option A, worst case if I broke even, and let's say it took me like 2 years to break even, like yeah, I mean I wasted a lot of time, but I learned a lot of lessons, and the key is I can get back up and continue trying. So, that's the kind of the mindset you need to have when investing in real estate or even investing in like any business venture that you're doing. And another example I had to give is, like if you fell from 1 feet 30 times, you'll be okay, right? I mean, 1 feet's not gonna break a leg, not gonna break a hip, it's not gonna do anything. You just get back up. It might hurt a little bit. You just get back up and try again, right? You can do this forever. Versus if you fall from 30 feet one time, you're dead. You cannot do this again. It's a one-time deal, right? So you gotta think in this way where I want to minimize my downside and maximize my upside. Now, if you had let's say a deal where your worst case is you break even and your best case scenario is you can make $20 million, that's the best of option one and option two. So in that case, that's a no-brainer. Take that deal hands down, right? But that's not always the case. And with asymmetric bets, you always have to continuously reevaluate like what you want, right? So like for me, starting off, like I might be willing to take a bigger bet, right? Like for me, I bought a mobile home park, for example. Obviously, if this goes well, I can basically make $6 million. Worst case, I thought was I was going to lose $300,000 on the deal. So I just said, hey, I'm willing to take that $300,000 loss. Worst case, that means I have to work maybe 3 more years, at my current salary, and I would have learned a lot from this, and I can still continue moving forward. It's not going to completely bankrupt me. But if the mobile home park bankrupt me completely, I may not be able to get back on my feet. I may have to work into your traditional retirement age, and I just might be so traumatized that I don't want to try again, right? So that's what's key, is that you should be able to sustain this for a long period of time to be successful. Like I said, millionaires and billionaires only need to be rich one time. And once you got rich that one time, just continue doing that one thing to slowly compound your wealth. That is how you truly become successful. You just, the first time you do it and you've built your initial wealth will be very exciting and stressful. But after that, anything you do after that, it's going to be easier and easier. And an example I like to use is real estate. Like buying my first apartment complex was difficult and stressful and a lot of unknowns, right? But now I can buy my second one, which is a lot easier. When I buy my third one, it's much easier. Then imagine like I'm on my 20th apartment complex. I could probably do it in my sleep at that point, right? So it's just getting that initial hurdle of getting that first deal. And that's why I created the Making Multifamily course combined with the one-on-one coaching calls, is to help you get over that hurdle to get your first deal. And once you get your first deal under, learning under someone's experience in their 10,000 hours, at that point, when you buy your second one, your third one, your fourth one, it gets easier and easier. So, a lot of people say, hey, I don't want to spend money on courses. Information should be free. And it is free out there, but you have to have a little skin in the game to keep you motivated to take action. And then, secondly, you need to be humble enough to basically learn. And the investment will seem so little, right? Like imagine if you put $3,000 into a course and it made you $100,000 over your first apartment complex, right? For example, I probably spent $15,000 on real estate education. And on my first deal, I made $250,000 on just my first deal. And that's just day one equity, right? After I'm done with my value add plan, I probably would have made $1 million. Would you spend $15,000 at an opportunity to make $250,000 or $1 million? I feel like most people would be yes, right? And worst case, if you know you do the asymmetrical bet on the course and you buy the course and you don't like it or it's not your style, I mean, is $3,000 going to make or break you? And if so, then you shouldn't be thinking about real estate investing. You should be focusing on increasing your income, right? So it's another asymmetrical bet. It is a $3,000 bet and learning everything you need to know about buying an apartment complex worth it at the opportunity to make $100,000 on your first apartment complex and teach you the skills and tool sets you need to build a real estate portfolio for the rest of your life. Like, just think about that. Like, I would take that bet anytime. And that's what I did. And that's why I'm offering people the same opportunity. And that's what inspired me to create my course, right? So, going back to the asymmetric bets, let's tie this into real estate because, my channel's focusing on real estate, specifically apartment complexes. So if you were to buy an apartment complex off market and get it under market value and you don't overpay, your worst case is you're breaking even. And let me share you my apartment complex as an example. I bought a 26 unit apartment complex off market for $500,000 and it appraised at $750,000 day one. So I made $250,000 day one with my first apartment complex. And that's just not doing anything else. Just day one. And I spent maybe $15,000 on real estate education. So I spent $15,000. I made $250,000. After I'm done with I'm gonna put $200,000 worth of renovation, and I think it's to be worth 1.5 million. Right. So my best case scenario is I make $1 million on this property, which is pretty good, right? Not bad. But I think my worst case scenario is even I put in $200,000 into renovation. Let's just say it doesn't increase the value because I can't raise the rents, or maybe it's poorly managed, or something happens. My worst case scenario is I think I can sell this for 700,000 to 750 to break even because it already appraised at $750,000 without renovations. Now imagine renovating, half the units for $200,000 with a new roof. I mean, I think you can at least break even and move on and learned all your lessons about apartment complexes and be better for the next one, right? So this is the deal the asymmetric bet that I made and that I took, and it was completely worth it, right? Like, this is my first win that I'm gonna do. So imagine you compound these wins, these asymmetric bets that you take and with your wins that you compound over the next 30 years, you're going to be very wealthy with a very large portfolio, right? But let's flip this on another scenario. So let's just say I'm buying a full gut rehab. Like you can buy an apartment complex for like, I saw a couple in Oklahoma City for like 500,000, just studs, walls, full gut rehab. You have to basically renovate everything, bring it up to 2022 or 2022 standards. Get permits, do renovations. Going through my experience of my renovations right now, it's always going to cost more. It's always going to take longer because of permitting. There's going to be delays. By bringing it up to current day standards, like installing a fire suppression system, sprinklers that turn on automatically, that's expensive, right? Or maybe even adding solar panels if you're in California. So there's just all these unknown variables, all this risk that's out of your control, and you're taking probably a hard money loan to build this up from the ground up, and it's gonna take so long. So, like at this point, you may finish your renovation. It might have taken you like 3 to 4 years. You may have not gotten all the way, and at this point, you might lose all your money, or maybe let's say you bought it for 500,000, you put in $2 million worth of renovation. You realize that you didn't have enough money because the cost of materials and labor went up during COVID, and you're short $1 million. At this point, you're stuck at trying to sell it, and like not many people are going to want to buy it. So, and the people who do want to buy it right. So you're going to lose money, right? And you could have lost all your money on this deal, and don't want to go up, don't want to try again, right? But if you're able to hit it right and actually finish the deal, yeah, it's going to be worth a lot of money, right? You'll probably make like $5 million if you can do the full gut rehab. But is the risk worth it? And is the asymmetrical bet worth taking? Right? And for me, right now, it doesn't make sense for me to take that bet. But if let's just say I'm worth $50 million and I can take an asymmetrical bet where, I buy it for 500,000, put in 2 million, and let's say it's worth 5 million. And worst case, if I do lose $2 million, but I'm worth 50 and I'm sitting comfortably, I can take the asymmetric bet, right? So that's why I said earlier is you have to constantly reevaluate what asymmetrical bet makes sense for you. Because when I'm starting off, I might take a certain asymmetric bet where I don't want to lose, right? But then once you've built a bigger foundation and you're basically financially free and nothing that you can do can basically ruin you, at this point you can start taking bigger and bigger asymmetrical bets where, right now if I lost $2 million, I'm bankrupt, right? But if I'm worth $50 million in, let's say, 20 years, I can lose $2 million and it's going to suck, but I'm not going to be bankrupt, right? So that's why you have to constantly understand asymmetrical bet concept and constantly reevaluate what asymmetric bet makes sense for you in this period of your life, right? Because what worked, what asymmetric bet you took when you first started versus what you're doing 20 years later, it's going to vary big time. So this is a concept that I learned, and now I'm kind of implementing into my investment strategy now. And that's what I kind of leading me to sell my mobile home park, because my mobile home park, it's not a bet that I want to take right now, but maybe in 5 years when I'm financially free, I might take that bet if I want to. So, overall, just learned this concept and wanted to share my thoughts on it and kind of how it impacted me and hopefully impacts you. If you found value from this video, please like, comment, subscribe. Once again, if you're interested in the Making Multifamily course, check out the link down below, or you can send me an email directly and I will reach out to you to answer any questions. So once again, hope to see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.